Well, we just got out of another heated election cycle in 2024. It just made me realize even more that politics aren't my thing. I'm not a big fan of politics. I really don't love politics because I don't necessarily love conflict. I don't necessarily love the disagreement all the time. And that's kind of a personality trait of mine that keeps me away from it. But more importantly, there's a lot of things that also come to the table. And one of which is that I definitely don't believe that politicians always have your best interest in mind. They always seem to be behind the scenes working to improve themselves or their own situations rather than caring for the people they govern for. And we see that time and time again. Even those that people are really thrilled with for a short time, it doesn't take long before they're doing something that upsets you or kind of turning on what they were promising. And it just seems like if you're going to get that big, you've got to be in a bad position in some way. So that would be what I say about politicians. And there's so many relationships, there's so many things going on, there are so many people they're connected to that are helping give them power or stuff like that, to where they'll be compromised. They won't go out and speak and say what needs to be said or do what needs to be done about something because of that compromise, their relationship with others. Kind of the idea of making sure the people that are with them right now stay on their side and they maintain the friends that they have to help keep them propped up. And so people are just too compromised, I think, in politics. To a degree, we all are. Let's be real about that. If you're in a position where you're working for a company, let's say you're working for AT&T, if you go out and post on your Instagram, God, AT&T sucks. They do nothing right. I don't love this company. Look at what they did to my cable service. Yeah, that's not a great look as an AT&T employee, and you may hear about that from HR eventually. But guys, I mean, we with the politics, when you've got lives on the line, we're supposed to be leading people in the best way possible. There's just something about that makes it really bad when you have all the problems that I just talked about. We've gotten to this point with all the information out there. You can make any argument about anything. There's so much information. There are so many sets of facts you can possibly align yourself with to make any argument about anything and sound correct. And for a lot of people out there, it's a lot more about being right than it is getting it right. What I mean by that is everybody just wants to rub it in. They want to win every argument. They want to be the smartest in the room. They want to be correct about everything rather than trying to find the solution, which would be being a little more open-minded, getting into disagreements, but being okay with that and seeking out new information. People are constantly seeking to affirm their own opinion. And when you do that, you don't learn anything new. You don't challenge yourself to try and find the best solution that would maybe fit the most amount of people other than your own or yourself. And that's a big problem. And it kind of amazes me year after year that people they can't at least believe that there is some other way to think about it. You know, let's say an issue, there could be some other way to think about it. They just apparently can't comprehend that. So they get so dug into their beliefs that's what brings out the anger, the frustration. I feel like there's more of that than we've seen in a while. They get into arguments, they get upset, they hate the other side. They hate the flip side of the coin, the flip side of the argument, the other thing that's going on. They hate it because they just can't comprehend that there is some other way to think about it. There may be some other set of information you could follow that brings you to a different conclusion than the one they have. And that is what kind of amazes me. Not that you can come to whatever opinion that they've come to, but that you can't believe that there's some other way to think about it and at least be open-minded enough to not be hateful of somebody who has a different opinion. But unfortunately, that's the society, that's the world we live in, to where people just genuinely hate each other over this stuff. And we see it all the time, the wars in the social media spaces, the protest, stuff like that, the belief that everybody's out to get everyone. And it's really disgusting. And so for that reason, I don't love following politics. I think it's just a crooked game. It's just not fun. Whereas for me, making more of a career in sports and stuff, it's not the most important thing in life. People that are taking on politics, they're probably doing something more important than me. There's certainly a lot of people doing way more important work than me, but it's something that I feel like does bring people together, and it's something that brings a lot of joy to people's lives, and it's something I'm passionate about. So I would rather pursue that, to where people aren't getting in heated arguments and wanting to kill each other. I would rather do something like that and put my time into something like that than the opposite, which is just being more divisive, constantly calling out people who disagree with you and learning how to hate them. That's just something that gets tiring and annoying, and I'm honestly concerned. I'm honestly concerned for what's going to happen for our future and how bad things will get. I just hope there's no incoming major conflict in the country that turns violent, and I hate to say that's like even on the table and probably being exaggerated a little bit, but just the way the elections have gone, the way people have dug into their own spots and opinions, it's kind of concerning. And again, we just hope the waters will stay calm and people can eventually learn how to disagree again, because it is kind of scary when you look at it from that perspective. And I won't be one of these people that says it's the most divisive time ever. I don't necessarily believe in that. And part of this is all just the media hysteria, the constant access to everybody else's opinion, the constant ability to communicate. You didn't really have that back in the day, and you'd only be talking, let's say, politics when it would come up in a conversation or when it's election time, whereas everybody has an opinion on every move that's made every day by every administration, and that's basically the way that works. So it's just a lot more of the access as much as anything as far as what we have available to us. So I don't think it's the most divisive time. We did have a civil war, but I do believe that we're not headed in the right direction, and things are probably going to get worse before they get better. But just another thought dump from me here on this morning. Just wanted to kind of go into politics, why I don't really love talking about it, why I think it's kind of a messed up game and a difficult thing for me to digest. I don't love it. I don't love the divisiveness of it, and it's just not for me. So comment below what you guys think about politics, politicians. Do you trust in any of them? Do you like any of it? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. I have more videos coming out soon as well, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But PM Games out for now.